Let's set and achieve some goals, baby. Hello, you're watching She Rocks at College Live. My name is Clarissa. I am the life coach for college women. And on tonight's live stream, we're going to be talking about goal setting and goal achieving as a college student. And I'm going to be walking you through my becoming process. This is the process that I take the students through in my program, Educated: The Art of Becoming a Good Student, as well as the students who choose to work with me in my one-on-one container, Your Best Semester Yet. So let's dive in. I want to tell you about what you're going to learn tonight. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the wrong place to set goals from. I'm going to talk about what goals are actually for. I'm going to talk about how to pick the right goal to focus on to get you to where it is that you're desiring to be in your life, and what it actually looks like and feels like to be in the process of achieving a goal. Because understanding that is what is going to allow you to not quit. Understanding that is what's going to make it possible for you to keep going until it is that you hit the goal. Sorry, my mind just went blank there for a second. So let's dive in. Okay. So one of the very first places that I want to talk about this topic from is why we even set goals in the first place. So for most of us, the reason why we have goals is because we believe that in the achieving of the goal, in the hitting of the goal, in the having of the goal, we will feel a certain way. The image that we have in our mind is that when we get there, whatever there is, whether it's a grade goal that you have for yourself, whether it's a habit that you're working on, whether it's a particular place in your life that you desire to be, whether it's graduation, we believe that when that goal happens, that our life will be better than what it is right now. And so what we're really chasing when we're setting goals is not necessarily the goal itself, right? It's not the grade, it's not the graduation, it's not the dream job. It's whatever we imagine that we're going to feel when we hit that goal. And the mindset that most of us go into setting this goal and desiring what we think is going to happen when we get there is we're coming at it from a place of hating where we currently are, not liking where we currently are, wishing that things were different. And so we go into the goal setting process with this ideal, with this romanticizing of what it's going to be like when we get there. But the truth of the matter is life is always 50-50. 50% of the times it's going to be rainbows and butterflies. 50% of the times it's going to be challenges and roadblocks and things that we're going to need to overcome. Even when you get there, life is always 50-50. And so I like to start the goal setting conversation with that in mind because, again, most people want the goal to be the thing that gets them out of where it is that they currently are. And what I find that this creates is a lot of pressure on the goal. We make the goal mean a lot more than what it needs to mean. We put a lot of significance and a lot of our identity in the goal. But the truth of the matter is that what actually defines whether or not we're happy, whether or not we enjoy our lives, whether or not we like our life, whether or not we are peaceful and calm and, whatever emotion it is that you think that you're going to feel when you get there, that emotion is actually coming from your thought about hitting the goal. It is coming from your thought about who you think you are now that you've hit the goal. The goal didn't create that emotion. Your thought about what hitting that goal means for you is what created that. And so if you go into the goal setting process thinking that it's going to change everything about your life, that when you get there, things are going to be rainbows and butterflies all of the time, and you don't go into it understanding that even when you're there, There's going to be ups and downs, that even when you're there, you're going to experience uncomfortable emotions, that even when you're there, shit is going to happen, that even when you're there, life is going to life. When you go into the goal setting process with this in mind, this creates a clean place for you to set goals from. Now you don't need the goal to happen in order to think a certain thing about yourself, or feel a certain way about yourself, or have a certain identity. The goal no longer holds everything for you. And what that allows is freedom in the process of achieving the goal. What that allows is self-compassion. What that allows is the process of becoming in order to achieve that goal. Because whether or not you hit it, you already know that you're going to be okay. Whether or not you hit it, you already know that life is going to be 50-50. It doesn't hold that much weight and that much meaning. Okay? So with that in mind, I know that you're probably thinking, well, if my life isn't going to be any better there than it is here, why would I put myself through the process of setting goals? What is the point of setting goals? So in my opinion, and this is the way that I teach goal setting to the college women that I work with, is that the point of a goal isn't actually to hit the goal. I know, if your mind is like, what? The point of a goal isn't actually to hit the goal. The point of a goal is to see who you are capable of becoming in the process of achieving the goal. Goal setting is a process of meeting yourself at your full potential. Goal setting is a tool that we use to find out just how brilliant we actually are. Goal setting is a tool that we use to step into everything it is that we were called to be. It is the process by which we become everything it is that we desire to be. What this means is, it really doesn't matter what goal you pick. As long as you pick a goal that is going to require that you become unavailable to your current life, unavailable to your current way of thinking, unavailable to your current way of habitually feeling and habitually showing up, and instead transform and recreate yourself and recreate your life in a way that leaves you in complete awe of yourself. That is the reason why we set goals. And in my world and with the college women that I work with, I call it stepping into your brilliance. And I call it the becoming goal. This is a goal we set to see who you become in the process, so that you remember just how brilliant, how capable, how worthy you are. And so, again, I know this is probably different than any other way that you've thought of goal setting in before. But when you set goals in this way, it allows you to fall in love with the process of becoming. It allows you to fall in love with the process of transformation. It allows you to fall in love with getting to see how you change and how you grow and how you challenge yourself and how you handle things and how you overcome obstacles. And when you do this right, and by right, I don't mean like you pick the correct things to do to try to hit the goal. But by right, I mean is the focus is on who am I becoming? Who am I growing into? What am I developing here? How am I growing? Because on that path, you're going to be learning new skills. You're going to be changing the way that you think about the world, the way that you think about what's possible and what isn't possible for you, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you're showing up, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you're handling certain things, how you're showing up in certain situations. Because all of that is being worked on, what becomes inevitable, especially if you don't quit, especially if you keep going until you get what it is that you want, is that the goal becomes inevitable. The goal happens in a way that feels like when you get there, I don't even know how this happened. This is how I feel in my life a lot of the times. I look back and I am in awe of everything that I have created. I look back and I think to myself, like, was it that really me? Did I really do that? It leaves me just in complete and utter I love watching the unfolding of my life. I love being in the process of achieving a goal, right in the middle, where it looks like it's not going to happen, where it looks like I'm behind, where it looks like shit is hitting the fan, where it looks like we're not going to make it, where it looks like I'm not capable, where it looks like I'm not smart enough, where it looks like maybe this just isn't for me. I love those moments because in those moments, that is where I get to choose who I'm going to be. In those moments, I get shaped. In those moments, I get positioned. In those moments, I get prepared to have everything it is that I want. In those moments, I'm learning what I need to learn. I'm mastering what I need to master. I'm going through the experiences that I need to go through so that I can become the type of person who creates those things in her life that she wants. And so what I want to dive into now is what this process of becoming, I call it the journey of becoming, looks like. So with my students, it starts off with us doing a reflection on themselves and their patterns of being and their current self-concept and their current self-identity, the things that they feel like they aren't capable of, the things that they desire in their life, all of the reasons why they believe that they can't have it or won't have it or it'll be difficult to have. And it's just a complete look at where they currently are, what's working in their life, what's not working, what they're happy with, what they're not happy with. And I walk through this process with them, asking them very specific questions about the things that they want and the ways that they hide and the ways that they shrink and the ways that they sabotage and the ways that they get in their own way and the things that they tell themselves that prevent them from getting where it is that they want to go. And the reason why this step is so important is because everything that you have in your life right now, all the results that you have, the grades you have, the amount of free time it is that you have, the relationships that you have, the way that you look, where you live, all of that is a result. It's a culmination. It is the byproduct of who you've been up until this point. It is a reflection of your thoughts about yourself. It's a reflection of how you've shown up day in and day out. It's a reflection of the decisions that you've made. It's a result of the decisions that you haven't made. It's a result of everything that you've thought up until this point, everything that you've felt up until this point, your habits of being, your patterns of showing up. It's all a result of that. And so if you're looking at your life right now, if you're looking at your grades right now, if you're looking at your experience in college so far and you're thinking to yourself, I'm capable of so much more. I thought that this was going to be different. I never expected to be here. How did I get here? How did this happen? Why doesn't this look like what I thought it was going to look like? Number one, give yourself a little bit of compassion. Where you are isn't right or wrong, good or bad. It's just where you are. And where you are is a result of what you've been thinking and what you've been doing. And the truth of the matter is that most of us aren't intentional and conscious about our thoughts, about our feelings, about our actions. We react to our lives, or we're very passive in our lives. We have the mindset that things happen to us, that we don't have control over things. And because that's our belief system, we often don't get what it is that we want simply because we haven't been deliberately trying to create it, because we feel like we don't have the power to. And again, not your fault, not good, not bad, not right, not wrong. We're just not taught to think in this way as a society. Until now, until you've landed on this video where I'm going to teach you, right? So we got to start with where you are. And we got to look at it like it's just facts. We got to look at it without judgment. We got to look at it without making it mean anything about us. On this YouTube channel, I have a video called How to Become a Good Student or something like that, using a personal development plan. And in that video, I walk through some of those self-reflection questions that you can ask yourself. It takes you through an exercise where you're rating every category of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. And you're asking yourself what would need to change, what would need to shift in order to go from the number that you currently have to a 10, where, again, you're just like in awe of your life and just so proud of yourself and so in love with those aspects of your lives. So you can go and you watch that video, and it takes you through the whole process of what to do once you've rated and how to create a plan and all of that. But we got to start with that self-reflection. Okay, once that's done, the second part is we need to cast a vision for our most brilliant self. The self-reflection allows us to see who we are now, who we think we are now, which is great and beautiful. We got to thank that version of us because they got us this far. And now that we are aware that we desire more, what does more look like? What does more feel like? What does more sound like? What is the experience of ourselves at our best, at our most brilliant? A couple weeks ago, I filmed a video called How I Plan for the Semester. And I also filmed a video called How to Become a Straight A Student. And in both of those videos, I talk about creating your future self concept. Deciding ahead of time and deciding on purpose who it is that you want to become, the way that you want to see yourself, the way that you want others to see you, the way that you want to be able to talk about yourself, the way that you want to be able to describe yourself, the relationship it is that you have to yourself. This is your most brilliant self. This is casting a vision for everything that you're about to create. When you get to the other side, when you get to the place where your goal is manifested, When your goal is your reality, you are living it, you have it, you are staring at it in your face, directly at you. Who is the version of you who did that? What will you allow yourself to say about yourself when you hit the goal? I'm an incredible student. I'm the type of person who accomplishes everything that she sets out for. I'm resilient. I am powerful. I am such a great learner. What are the things that you're going to say about yourself when that goal is achieved? What do you imagine other people are going to say? How do you imagine yourself feeling in that moment? What's the emotion? What are the thoughts and the stories that come with that emotion? Go to the place where the goal is done. Really paint the picture of that. Inside of my program, Educated the Art of Becoming a Good Student, I have a meditation that's called the Future Self Meditation that I take students through to help them really visualize that version of themselves, to make it so real in their body, so tangible, to really get to know themselves at the place where they have everything it is that they want academically, or maybe in their lives, depending on where that meditation takes them into the future, right? They know where they're going and they know what it looks like when they're there. So step 1, the self-reflection. Step 2, casting the vision of your most brilliant self. Step 3 is identifying the gap between who you are now and who you desire to be. It is getting really clear on what it's going to require of you to become the version of yourself who can achieve the goals it is that you set. Because that version of you, she thinks differently. She acts differently. She thinks about her time differently than you do. She thinks about her studying differently than you do. Her relationship to her courses and to assignments is different. Her relationship to herself is different. Her relationships to the people around her are different. Her boundaries are different. How she responds to certain situations are different. The stories that she creates when certain things happen are different. Everything is different. You need to identify that difference. Because through the identification of the differences, through the identification of the gap, is where you're going to build your plan from. This is where the specifics come in. This is where the steps come in. This is where the path comes in. And when you do this work of getting clear on where you are, getting clear on where it is that you desire to go, what it's going to take, what it's going to require, the question that we always, what do I do? How do I do it? How do I get there? How do I make this happen? Naturally get answered. It is so clear what you need to work on. It is so clear what you need to focus on. It is so clear where your self-work is. It is so clear in the skills it is that you need to master. It is so clear on how to get from point A to point B. I believe that when we declare to the world, to God, to the universe, whatever it is that you subscribe to, the moment that you make the decision, this is what I want, this is who I'm becoming, this is where I'm going, I believe that the opportunities, the experiences, the circumstances, the moments, the conversations, the perceived setbacks, the perceived failures, the perceived obstacles present themselves so that you can practice becoming the version of you it is that you desire to become. The problem is that when you're not aware of what it looks like to go through the journey of becoming, to go through the journey of achieving your goals, those moments, those circumstances, those perceived setbacks, those perceived obstacles, those perceived roadblocks, those conversations, those moments, those opportunities, we don't experience them as that. We experience them as reasons to not keep going. We experience them as evidence of why we should quit. We experience them as confirmation of why it won't happen for us. Instead of recognizing their true purpose in our path, which is presenting us with opportunities to practice the skills, practice the thinking, practice the feeling, practice all of the things that are going to help us to become the version of ourselves that can achieve those goals. We forget what we asked for. We forget that we asked to be resilient. Well, to be resilient, you need to have obstacles to be resilient through. We forget that we asked to feel confident. Well, to feel confident, you need to be presented with moments where you are feeling insecure and you choose to remember who you are and that you belong in the room and that you're smart enough to be there. We ask to be better students. And we forget that we asked for that. We forget that that requires effort and not knowing so that we can learn. Right? We don't experience these moments as what they truly are, which are beautiful opportunities for us to become everything it is that we wanted. We forget that these experiences are preparing and positioning us to win. And when you learn this, when this lands for you, when you start looking at your path to becoming everything it is that you want from this lens, it will change your entire experience. You will begin to enjoy the process. You will be able to see how everything is truly happening for you. You will begin to understand that nothing happened by accident, that none of it was a coincidence. That the moment that you said, this is what I want, this is who I want to become, this is what I want to experience in my life, this is what I want to be able to say that I've done, that I've accomplished, that I've created, that with that declaration is going to come experiences and opportunities and circumstances and moments for us to become that, for us to have that. And if we can learn to not make those moments mean that we don't get to have what it is that we want, that we're not meant for it, that we're not smart enough for it, that we didn't come from the right background for it, that we didn't have the correct life experiences to deserve it, to have it, we block ourselves, we prevent ourselves from having the very experiences that are going to build and mold us into the women that we want to be. I tell this story often because, as you guys know, I went from failing out of 7 classes to graduating with honors. And I spent an entire summer learning how to learn and like reading every book that I could on time management, reading every book that I could on study skills. And at that time, blogs were just starting up, and I was like on every productivity blog that there was. I was reading Cal Newport's blog. I was reading his book. I was like doing all of the research, and at the same time, I was applying everything that I was learning to my prerequisite courses to get into the program that I was trying to get into. And I remember the very first like hard class that I took, having just learned and applied these skills and having committed to myself that I was going to learn how to be a good student, that I was going to get into a nursing program, that I was not only just going to get in, but I was going to be like a great student, and I was going to earn A's and B's, and I was just going to prove my advisor, who told me that I wasn't smart enough, wrong. The very first exam that I took after spending that summer doing all the research and learning all the things, I got a 65. I had just spent all that time creating a plan, figuring out Cornell note-taking, figuring out all the things. And you're going to tell me that after all of that, I'm going to get a 65 on my first anatomy and physiology exam? Can you imagine what went through my mind? Here we go again. This is a repeat of my bio major days. I can already tell how this semester is going to go. And I had a moment where I was like, no. We said this would be different. So I had to be different. Old me would have given up right there. I would have stopped like going to lecture. I would have stopped going to office hours. I would have like stopped studying because it didn't matter. And then I would have judged myself for not studying, and then I would have crammed and then not gotten the grades that I wanted, and then judged myself and told myself that it would have been the same pattern that I was in when I failed out of 7 classes. If I was going to create a different experience for myself, I needed to be different than I have ever been. I needed to be a different version of myself. I could not be the version of Clarissa that failed out of 7 classes. I had to be the version of Clarissa who knew that she was going to get into the nursing program, who knew that she was going to graduate with honors, who knew that she was going to make it through this, who knew that she was going to figure it out, who knew that she was smart enough, who knew that she had done the work, who knew that it was possible for her. And so I did something completely different than I've ever done before. I went to office hours and I had a conversation with the professor. We went through that exam. We looked at everything I did right. We looked at everything that I did wrong. I shared with him everything that I was doing to study. I shared with him my notes. I shared with him the exact places that I had found the information and how far in advance I had studied. We did what I call in my program a post-exam review. I went on to finish that class with an A-. But it required me being different. It required me showing up as though the A already happened, as though I expected it, as though I knew that it was already coming, that it was already written in the cards. This is how we need to approach our goals. We have to go into it believing that it's possible. We have to go into it expecting that it'll happen for us. We have to go into it knowing the places where we get stuck, the places where we hold ourselves back, the places where we get in our own way, the places where we want to hide, the places where we feel embarrassed, the places where we feel ashamed, the places where we think certain things about ourselves. And we have to be so conscious of that patterning so that when we're in it, the way I was in it when I saw that 65, we can catch ourselves and decide to be different, which is step 4. Taking the actions like the version of ourselves who's already achieved the goal. A lot of the work that I do with college women is around this. A lot of the work that I do with college women is about helping them to identify, I call them their procrastination patterns. These are their patterns of thinking that lead them to not study even though they had scheduled to study. These are the patterns of feeling that these emotions that when they come up, they're uncomfortable with, and that lead them to wanting to do something to get rid of the emotion, and that doing often looks like procrastination. I help women to see and to really look at what's working and what's not working without self-judgment, without shaming themselves, without making it mean anything about them. Because when we're able to remove the emotion from the problem, all that exists is a problem to solve. But when we add the emotion in, when we add story into it, now we got to untangle the emotion. Now we got to untangle the story. Now we're trying to solve for how we're feeling. Now we're trying to have to solve for how we're thinking. And it distracts us from the very simple things that if we just tweaked them, would create the biggest shift in your grades, would create the biggest shift in your experience, would create the biggest shift in your relationship with time. But what happens is that we have a problem. Let's say the problem is you work full time, and now we add story, and that means that it's going to be harder for me to get a good grade. And that story adds emotion, which is panic or anxiety or overwhelm. And you don't like feeling panic and you don't like feeling overwhelmed. So instead of just dealing with the overwhelm and dealing with the anxiety and feeling it, you're over here trying to get yourself not to feel it by distracting yourself with Netflix or with YouTube or with learning how to study or with watching videos on motivation. Instead of looking at what the actual problem is. I work full time. How can I make this work for me? How can I make this possible? What do I need? What do I imagine is going to make it? What do I imagine the obstacles are going to be? Can I solve for those ahead of time? What can I put in place? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? How can I make this possible? If this is what I have to work with, how can I succeed even when? But when you add story, you add emotion, and now you're over here trying to run away from the emotion, not looking at the problem. And when you're not looking at the problem, you're not solving for the problem. So the problem persists. And you think that the issue is that you're working full time and that makes it difficult. But that's not the truth. That's just a story you're telling yourself. Plenty of people succeed working full time. It's that you're distracted over here instead of trying to figure out what the solution is for you. This is so important. These conversations need to be had, and I'm the one to have them. I'm the one to bring this to your attention because I want you to win. I want you to succeed. I want you to see just how simple succeeding in college can be when you're taught these skills, when you are taught what the process looks like, what to expect and what to do in those moments, how to handle, how to lead yourself through those moments, how to choose to be the version of yourself who knows what to do, who's already done it, who already has the A, the study-free weekends, has done the things, because she's in you. She has to be, because she's the one that's going to help you to create it. You can't get there without being her, which means she's already there. Where goal setting process just allows for you to be a little bit more deliberate and conscious and focus on helping yourself develop into her so that you can have everything that you imagine that she would have. So recapping, step 1 is the self-reflection. Step 2 is casting the vision. Step 3 is identifying the gap, which is like the action steps. Step 4 is actually taking the actions. Step 5 is celebrating. Step 5 is celebrating. Because along the way, you're going to be assessing. Well, at least that's how I teach it to my students. We're going to be looking at what worked in that situation, what didn't work, what are we shifting, what do we need to change. All of it, we're looking at it without any judgment, without any self-criticism. We're just like, oh, it's interesting how like in that situation, this is how I felt and this is what I was thinking. And from that place, this is the decision that I made. And this is the result that that decision led to. How do I want to handle that in the future? What needs to shift there for this to be different? You're getting better over time. You're mastering the skills that you need to master over time. You're getting better at catching yourself in your procrastination patterns and choosing to be different, choosing to shift it, choosing to change it, choosing to interrupt it, choosing to break the pattern and create a new one. And because all of that is happening, little by little, you're getting better and better and better and better over time. Better at managing your time, better at studying effectively, better at handling, perceived setbacks, because I don't believe that they exist, but sometimes the story we tell ourselves is that we're behind, right? Better at bouncing back, better at getting back on track, better at feeling and processing our emotions and not needing to run away from them or numb or avoid. We're transforming who we are. Slowly over time, we're becoming a version of ourselves that is completely different than who we were last semester, which means we're going to create different results. And typically, those are the results that you wanted to create. And so now you get to just celebrate it. Now you get to just see exactly how you created that. You get to recall every moment, every decision, every opportunity that came up and how you handled it, and the skills that you used to get through it, and how you got better, and where you were at the beginning, and how far you've come, and how you did it, and that you were the one that did it. And all of this is beginning to shift your self-identity and your self-concept. All of this is shifting who you know yourself to be. All of this is shifting your being. All of this is shifting who you are, which is only going to get better with time, which is only going to make you feel more confident, which is only going to create more self-trust, which is only going to create more self-confidence, which is only going to carry into the next semester. This is how you become the type of student who knows that she can accomplish and achieve anything it is that she desires, who knows that she's a good student, who is able to bounce back, who is able to finish the semester strong, even if at the beginning she wobbled. Why? Because you just walked yourself through the process of it. You just saw yourself navigate it. You just saw yourself lead yourself through it. You have all of that evidence banked. This way of goal setting is so juicy. It's so incredible. It's so delicious. It makes life so good and so worth living. One of my mentors describes it as, like we never actually get there, right? Because we hit a goal and then because we're humans, we set another one. It's growth and evolution over a lifetime. And I have truly come to appreciate the unfolding of the story I get to tell about who I became. It's something that I tell myself all the time, and I'm actually looking at it because I have it written out on a big white sheet of paper right where my altar is. I love the unfolding of the story I get to tell about who I became. I think of my life as a book, and every chapter I am writing, and every moment is important. It's all developing. It's all something that, like, when I get to my deathbed, when I'm hopefully 100 and something, I want to look back at my life and just be so proud of the unfolding of me, of the creation of me, of the creation of my life. To do that, to be that proud, I had to have consciously and deliberately created it, which is why this way of setting goals is so powerful. Because you're doing it on purpose. It doesn't just happen to you, but you chose it every step of the way. So that is going to conclude today's video. To Maya, Rachel, Looney, Mickey, Cheryl, thank you ladies for being here with me live. You're the ones whose names I see in the chat. If you really liked today's video and you already have a goal, but you are experiencing the moment in the goal setting process that I talked about where you're not seeing your circumstances and your experiences as opportunities for you to continue to become and choose to become the version of yourself, and instead your brain is offering stories of this is why you can't, I highly recommend that you watch the video called How to Not Quit. I filmed it a couple weeks ago. It's called How to Not Quit. In it, I walk you through the process of persevering. In it, I walk you through the process of being resilient. In it, I walk you through the process of what you need to do and focus on to keep going, keep working towards your goal until you get everything it is that you want. I want to start doing something really fun on these live streams. I really want to start coaching and like giving specific feedback to students. And I haven't figured out how I want to do this yet. I haven't figured out the logistics of all of it. But what I'm imagining and what I'm picturing is that like you would either submit a video with your question and or, a sample of your notes or like a sample of your study plan or like whatever question it is that you have. And I would be able to like play the video of your question, of your situation, of your circumstance. And the second half of the YouTube video would be me answering that question and giving specific feedback and like really walking the students who submit these videos through the process of like what it's like to coach with me and what it's like to work with me, so that even if for whatever reason you aren't able to make it into one of my programs or you can't work with me one-on-one, you're getting something out of these videos every single week and you're really feeling like it's helping you and supporting you, and you're getting specific examples and you're getting to see different situations. Because number one, it normalizes your experience as a student. You get to see that you're not the only one who's struggling, that you're not the only one who wasn't taught these things. but also you get to see and learn from me and how I think through problems and how I think about approaching the semester and how I think about approaching classes. And all of that is going to help you to become a better student, to achieve your goals academically and also achieve your goals in your life. So if you're not already on my email list, make sure that you get on the email list. So if you're watching now on YouTube, underneath this video, once it renders, there'll be like an anti-procrastination guide. So if you click on that anti-procrastination guide, it will have you insert your email and your name, and you will get my anti-procrastination guide. It walks you through the whole process of like identifying your patterns and like building your study plan and like all that kind of stuff. So you'll get that like as a nice gift. And it also places you on my email list, which is where I will probably describe all of the details of like how you can submit your video and get coached and all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you stay in my world, that you stay subscribed to this YouTube channel, that you keep coming back, because these videos and this YouTube channel is only getting better and better and better, because I am the life coach for college women. I'm the best at what it is that I do, and I am committed and devoted to ensuring that more college women graduate so that we have more women out there in leadership positions earning shit tons of money because of their college degree. Because I know the impact that educating a woman has. We are the ones that shape the world. We are the ones that are going to change things. We got to get you graduated first, though. Bye.